Something shocking just came out, and the internet cannot stop talking about it. A former HYBE staff member claims that the public has never been told the full truth about Taehyung and Jungkook. According to them, everything we've seen, from airport appearances, sudden schedules, even interviews, may not be as random as they looked. They said there were strict rules, hidden moments, and decisions made behind the scenes that fans were never supposed to note. So now everyone is asking, was everything planned? Or was something being covered up? Stay until the end, because what they revealed next changes everything. The revelations didn't stop there. The former HYBE staff member continued, and the tone in their voice shifted, almost as if they were finally releasing a secret that had been hidden for too long. They said that the company had always known Taehyung and Jungkook attracted a different kind of attention. Not just as idols, not just as BTS members, but as a pair that had an undeniable chemistry, one that could not be scripted or controlled. According to them, the company initially tried to ignore it. But as time went on, fans noticed things that weren't meant to be seen. Small gestures, glances that lingered too long, accidental touches, private smiles. And slowly, the narrative became impossible to stop. The staff member claimed that at one point, certain interactions between Taehyung and Jungkook were edited out of behind-the-scenes footage before it was released. Not because there was anything wrong, but because someone believed the public wasn't ready. There were also moments, they said, that shocked even the employees. Moments where the two acted as if no cameras were around, as if the world didn't exist. Moments that made everyone watching question whether the line between friendship and something deeper had already been crossed long ago. What surprised fans even more was when the staff member confessed that the rumors didn't only exist online, they existed inside the company walls too. Some employees whispered about it, some ignored it, but others watched quietly, wondering if they were witnessing something rare, something real. According to the insider, there was even a period where Taehyung and Jungkook were intentionally scheduled apart, not because of conflict but to calm the storm of attention. But ironically, the distance only made everything louder. Because every time they reunited, even for a second, the energy was undeniable, and fans immediately knew. The former staff member paused, almost as if remembering something emotional, then added one last line. Whether the world believes it or not, those two share a bond that goes beyond the stage. And no one, not a company, not the media, not even time, can erase what they are to each other. And with that, everything changed. Within minutes, the clip of the former staff member spread across TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Fans translated it into multiple languages, slowed it down, analyzed every word, every pause, every expression. Some cried. Some laughed in disbelief. Others said, "We knew it. We always knew." The tag Taekook truth trended worldwide. Clips resurfaced. Old moments that fans had talked about for years suddenly carried new weight. The way Taehyung rested his head on Jungkook's shoulder. The way Jungkook would instinctively walk closer when Taehyung looked tired. The way their expressions softened whenever they looked at each other. For many, these moments weren't just memories anymore. They were evidence. But while fans were celebrating or speculating behind the scenes, things were different. At HYBE headquarters was in chaos. Managers were calling each other. Legal teams were analyzing whether the statement violated NDAs. Someone was trying to trace the interview source, while another department debated whether a public response was necessary. Some executives believed silence was safest. Others believed denying it would only make the rumors stronger. One senior member reportedly slammed a folder onto a desk and said, "This is no longer just a fan theory. This is a public narrative now." Meanwhile, Taehyung and Jungkook themselves remained silent. But silence from them had never felt this loud. Fans watched their social media closely, refreshing every few seconds. Some waited for a cryptic message. Others hoped they would address it directly. Hours passed. Then suddenly Jungkook appeared online. Nothing on camera. Nothing emotional. Just a simple message. "Don't believe everything you hear." 3 minutes later, Taehyung posted, and his message shocked everyone. Some things don't need to be explained. 2 posts. 2 different tones, but somehow both felt connected. Fans froze. What did Jungkook mean? Was he protecting someone? Was Taehyung hinting at something deeper? Or were they simply telling the world that not everything needed the public's approval? Speculation only grew stronger, and somewhere, in the middle of the world's noise, the 2 young men at the center of it all continued living their lives, quietly watching. What no one knew yet was that this was only the beginning. Night fell, but the world wasn't ready to sleep. Millions of fans were still awake, refreshing timelines, dissecting every second of the two posts. TikTok edits multiplied. Forums filled with theories. News outlets began writing articles, labeling the situation as the Taekook controversy. But then, something no one expected happened. A new notification appeared. Not from the company. Not from news media. Not from a random account. It was from another BTS member. Jungkook at a simple post, just one line. People talk too much about things they don't understand. No emojis. No hashtags. No explanation. The internet froze. Some fans thought it was shade. Others believed it was protection. But one thing was clear: Jungkook never spoke unless there was a reason. Minutes later, comments poured in. What does he mean? Is he defending them? Is this a warning? And while everyone was trying to figure it out, a private video began circulating in small fan group chats. A leak. At first, people thought it was fake. Blurry footage. Dim lighting. But when the image sharpened, hearts stopped. It was Taehyung and Jungkook. Sitting together in a practice room. No cameras. No audience. No staff. Just the two of them, talking quietly. The audio wasn't clear, but the body language was unmistakable. Taehyung was speaking slowly, his gaze focused, serious. Jungkook listened with his head slightly lowered. Not sad, but thoughtful, almost emotional. Then Taehyung placed a hand on Jungkook's knee, gently, reassuringly. Jungkook lifted his eyes, and for a moment it looked like he smiled. Not the stage smile. Not the fan service smile, but something soft, something real. Before the clip faded out, just one sentence could be heard, faint, but unmistakable. Jungkook's voice, quiet. Unfiltered. No matter what happens, we stay us. The video ended. And the world went silent. That silence didn't last long. Within minutes, the clip spread everywhere. Fans screamed. News accounts reposted. Even people outside the fandom began paying attention. Some said the video proved everything. Others said it raised even more questions, but one thing was certain. This was no longer just rumor, speculation, or theory. Something was happening, something real, something unfiltered, and the world was watching. And whether HYBE wanted it or not, the truth was no longer just theirs. It now belonged to millions. Silence hovered over the room after Jimin's shocking words. Jungkook slowly sank onto the couch, his breath shaky. Taehyung remained standing, staring at the table as if the wood itself held answers. Jungkook finally spoke, voice low and careful. Jimin, a tape? What exactly did she say? Jimin nodded, swallowing hard. She said the staff member sent her something. An old recording from BTS's trainee days. She didn't tell me what's in it. But she said HYBE tried to shut her down after she mentioned having it. The room instantly shifted. It wasn't just drama anymore. This was evidence. Real, dangerous evidence. Taehyung finally looked up. Why didn't she release it? Jimin took a deep breath. She said she's scared. Apparently, after she mentioned it online, someone contacted her from HYBE and warned her to stay quiet. They threatened legal action. Jungkook clenched his jaw. So there was something, he muttered bitterly. Something we weren't told. His voice shook, not from anger but from hurt. Taehyung stepped closer, his expression softening. Kook. But Jungkook didn't look at him. Instead, his eyes remained fixed on the floor, as if reliving something he couldn't escape. Namjoon, sensing the tension rising, finally broke the silence. We need to think rationally. If someone is releasing private information from the past, especially something HYBE tried to bury, this isn't just about rumors. This could turn into something big. Jimin nodded quickly. And if the tape is what I think it is, it could explain everything. Jungkook narrowed his eyes. What do you think is on it? Jimin hesitated just a second, but it was enough to make everyone lean in. Finally, he spoke. Do you remember trainee dorms? That time Taehyung and Jungkook got locked in the basement practice room overnight. Taehyung blinked. That was years ago. Jungkook finally looked up quietly. We weren't supposed to be there. We snuck in. Jimin exhaled. And someone recorded you two talking. The words landed like a grenade. Taehyung froze. Jungkook's heartbeat hammered in his ears. Namjoon whispered. Recorded how? Security camera. Jimin shook his head. No. Phone recording. Hidden. Taehyung swallowed, voice barely audible. So someone heard everything? Jimin nodded slowly. If it's the recording she claims it is, then yes. Jungkook stood abruptly, hands balled into fists. That was private, he said through clenched teeth. That night wasn't meant for anyone else. Taehyung stepped toward him, voice firm yet gentle. We can handle this. Whatever's coming, we face it together. But Jungkook didn't answer. Not immediately. Instead, he took a deep breath, trying to steady the storm inside him. Yoongi finally asked the question no one wanted to say aloud. What exactly did you two say that night? Silence. Taehyung looked away. Jungkook stared at the floor. 10:01 breathed. Then Jungkook finally answered, soft but painfully clear. Everything. The room froze. Every emotion, every unspoken question, every secret that never made it past locked doors, suddenly felt close enough to touch. Namjoon whispered, almost afraid. So if that tape leaks? Jungkook finished the sentence himself. The world will finally know the truth. No one spoke after Jungkook's words. The air felt thick, like time itself had stopped inside the room. Taehyung slowly sat beside him, close enough for comfort but not enough to pressure him. His voice was soft, steady. Do you remember that night clearly? Jungkook let out a humorless laugh. How could I forget? That night changed everything. Yoongi leaned forward slightly, arms crossed, not judgmental, just listening. Then maybe we need to talk about it, he said. Before the rest of the world hears it. Before we do. Jimin nodded. We need to know what's on that tape exactly. Jungkook hesitated. His chest rose and fell with a deep breath. Taehyung didn't rush him. He waited. Finally, Jungkook spoke. It was after practice. Everyone already left. We were exhausted, but neither of us wanted to go back to the dorm. Taehyung's lips curved in a small nostalgic smile. You kept messing up choreography because you were half asleep. Jungkook shot him a look. And you challenged me to keep dancing until one of us collapsed. Namjoon smiled faintly. That sounds like you too, Jungkook continued. But after a while it wasn't about dancing anymore. We were just talking. About everything. Trainee stress. Fear. Dreams. The future. His voice softened. And then somehow we started talking about us. Taehyung's eyes lowered, his thumb brushing anxiously over his ring. Yoongi's expression sharpened. Not in anger but focus. What do you mean by us? Jungkook swallowed. The rumors. The way people talked when they saw us together. How some trainees teased us. How staff sometimes separated us. Taehyung added quietly. How it confused us at the time. Jimin leaned back, exhaling shakily. So the tape isn't some random conversation, it's emotional. Jungkook nodded. And personal. Namjoon asked gently. What happened at the end of the recording? Jungkook hesitated. But Taehyung answered. That's when he told me he didn't care what anyone said. Jungkook looked at him, eyes reflecting something raw. You said the same thing, he whispered. You said none of it mattered. Taehyung smiled, not happy but full of memory. And you said, then don't let them separate us. Yoongi's eyebrows rose slightly. That line alone could cause chaos. Jungkook nodded. There's more. Another silence. This one heavier. Namjoon spoke carefully. Did either of you confess something? On that tape. Jungkook didn't answer at first. He closed his eyes, and when he finally spoke, his voice trembled, not from fear but emotion he'd held for years. I told him I didn't know what it meant yet, but whatever we were, it was real to me. Taehyung looked at him, not surprised but moved. And I told him. I felt the same. No one breathed. The truth, raw, vulnerable, undeniable, hung in the room. Finally Namjoon exhaled slowly. If that tape is real, it isn't just a scandal. Yoongi finished the thought in a low voice. It's history. Jimin asked the question everyone feared. What now? Jungkook finally opened his eyes. Not afraid. Not confused but determined. We find the tape, he said. Before anyone else does. Taehyung nodded beside him. And if the world hears it, then they'll hear the whole truth, not just pieces. For the first time since the conversation started, Jungkook reached out. His pinky hooked onto Taehyung's. A silent promise, a silent war, and outside, somewhere in the world, a file waited. One that could either heal everything or burn everything down.